2, drink water. Don't drink and drive.
Game over!
Take it light. Stay.
Now you're more fluent.
He got 3!
Up, Bears.
So this is really good right here. Absolutely. Let's do it.
And welcome to the latest edition of We Got Next. I'm Rickey Hampton with my great friend, former Milwaukee Bucks center and Bucks legend Paul Mokeski, coming to you with a special pregame edition here before the start of Game 5 tonight. Big Mo, always a pleasure to see you and be with you, my brother.
You too. Happy birthday, Rickey.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yep. Pretty soon you're going to be able to hit from those real front gold tees up there.
Hey, I'm all for it, baby. I need all the help I can get.
Yeah, don't have an ego, man. Go up there and hit from there.
I'll put on a skirt. I am willing to get one of those one of the mocks they wear over in England. I forgot what the little shams or whatever. I'll put one of those.
In Scotland, yeah.
Yeah, Scotland. I'll put one of those bad boys on to move up about 20 yards.
You don't have to anymore. You're old enough.
Yeah, right. But Mo, it's good to see you, man.
You too, Rick.
And I'm glad we got another game to talk about.
Yeah.
It was good to see Dallas respond the other night and just blow Boston out in Game 4 to send us into Game 5 tonight. Let's go back and get your thoughts on what happened the other night and then what you're thinking about leading into Game 5 tonight.
Well, I think, Game 4, Boston's been owning the series, obviously. They're up 3-0 and, I talked about this before, a mentality comes into play. So, the great Don Nelson, one of the greatest coaches ever, always told us hardest thing to do in basketball is close out a series. I don't care, if it's, 3-3 or whatever it is, it's hard to close out. And, Boston had owned the series. So they're looking at this game of, well, we got one in Dallas, let's go out here and win 4 and sweep. But you know what? It's not all bad if we don't win this game. And then we just go back to Boston and clean it up at home because we got to go home anyway. And that, everybody knows you can't do that. You got to end it when you can. But mentally, they're human. And Dallas had everything on the line. The really interesting thing is I think finally, Luka actually listened to somebody. I mean, he was getting ripped on TV and his teammates and coaches probably been begging him, stop whining to the refs and just play. And stop whining and don't commit stupid fouls. And please, please, please try to play a little defense. Just a little. And he did that. And guess what? Something good happened. And, so we'll see what happens tonight. But, after they got on a run, I think Boston struggled a little bit. They didn't know is Porzingis playing. He suited up. We don't know. And then Dallas got on a run. And we know Boston, when they're shooting well, they're lights out. Forget about it. But when they struggle, they're beatable. They were beatable in Game 1 or 2. I can't remember which one. But Mavs just didn't come through with it. And, so I've told you this a zillion times, right, Rickey? In a 7-game series, the odd number games are the most important in my mind. Number 1, you set the tone. In 3, you're either going up or you're going down. And then 5, is huge. 7 obviously is the most important, but 5, now we have it, right? Because if Boston wins, it's over. Yay, party, let's go. If Dallas wins, guess what? The pressure's back on Boston because we go back to Dallas where we killed you. And now we're going to try to force the Game 7, which, Boston doesn't want when you're up 3-0. No one's ever come back from 3-0, blah, 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 all that pressure. So tonight is a big, big game obviously for Dallas, but for Boston too.
Is there more pressure on Boston in tonight's game, you think, Mo?
No, I think it's on both because obviously Dallas, if you lose,
yeah,
like in game 4, Dallas was like we got nothing. We're going to lose the series or we're not. So let's let it out. But now they're thinking, and people will tell them, hey, we're back in this thing. We're back in this. So that puts back pressure on you. But I think there's a little more on Boston tonight playing at home because they know if they lose, they got to go back to Dallas. But it's almost equal, I think, on both teams.
Hey, why is the teams have been able to come from 3-1 down and actually win series as opposed to never coming back from 3-0 down?
Because I think, if you're 3-0 down, you got to win 4 in a row, right? So that's mentally hard. It's physically hard to win 4 in a row. But if you're like now, Dallas is up. It's 3-1. Now you're looking at all we need to get is the next one, and we'll see what happens. But it's still a hard thing, even down 3-1.
Yeah.
3-0 is 4 in a row. And you look at the other side. Hey, we're up 3. There's no way they can beat us 4 in a row. It's impossible. No way. Every team's thinking that mentally. There's no way they can beat us 4 in a row. We know that.
Yeah. Luka really had a good game the other night. He did not shoot well from the 3-pointer. He was actually 0 of 8 from 3-pointer, but 12 of 26 from the field overall. That means he was really effective inside that 3-point line. And I thought the Celtics missed Porzingis a little bit the other night. Because when he has played, he has really been a factor for them.
Well, he played great in game 1, especially in the first quarter. But since then, he's been good, but he stretches the floor. And I keep telling people that there's another. So if Porzingis is playing, Horford's coming off the bench. That's a nice combo right there. But if Porzingis isn't playing, Horford is starting. And they brought, I can't remember that dude's name that played okay, but they're bringing him off the bench now.
Cornette?
No. The other guy.
Tillman.
Yeah, Tillman Jr. or whatever. So instead of bringing Horford off the bench, you got Tillman coming off the bench. He's doing his best. He's played good, but he's no Horford. So that's a big letdown. And Porzingis stretches the floor. He blocked 2 or 3 shots. He adds another dimension. I said before the series, if Porzingis is healthy and plays, I had Boston in 7. But if he doesn't, I have Dallas in 6. But obviously those are a little askew. But he had, so he played in game 1, he played in game 2, got hurt, didn't play in game 3 or 4. So that's like he's not playing. He did play and he's not playing. So, but he's a big factor.
He's a factor. Good Age is checking in with Age 84, and we welcome all our friends from the Sport Fluent Network. Thank you for joining us at this special time. He says he wouldn't be surprised if Boston came out flat tonight. But who knows if the Mavs have anything left after that blowout.
Yeah, they feel better now than they did in game 4 physically because they have a couple days off, right? And game 4 was played 1 day rest after game 3. So they have a couple days off, and that helps them. The series is crazy, right? Though a team comes out and they show really good, and then they lose it in the second half, and that's happened to both these teams. And a team goes up 20 and they lose that lead. Mavericks did it. Boston caught them and won. And in game 3, Mavericks came down. In game 3, Dallas made a 20-0 run in the fourth quarter in game 3. 20-0. I mean, so who knows what these two teams. I thought it was going to be a better series if Dallas wins tonight, which I think it's a long shot. But if they do, then it is a series. But I don't know. It's hard to tell anymore. I can't predict. What teams are. Teams get 20-point leads and they lose them all the time now. And don't bet on what I say.
Hey, and Mo, we've talked about those big leads. You never who you don't hate having a big lead, but you don't necessarily like them when you're coaching. And it seems crazy to say that, but I kind of understand where you come from when you say that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big lead at halftime is not good usually. It depends on what happens though. So if I have a 20-point lead at halftime and the team we're playing played really good, I'm okay. But if we have a 20-point lead at halftime and we made everything and they couldn't make a shot and we know they're better, that scares me because they're going to play better and we naturally have a little letdown because we're up. So having a big lead in a game, is not guaranteed anything anymore, especially with the 3-point line. But it depends on sometimes I'm down by 20 at halftime and we played terrible. Our stars were terrible. We couldn't make a shot, didn't get no calls, and they made everything. I'm okay with that. Don't worry about it. We're better than this, and we're going to catch them, and we'll put some pressure on. Now, is there enough time? Because you have to come back from 20 points down. You expend a lot of energy, and if you don't get over that hump and get that lead, and it keeps going, okay, we're down 20, but we get it to 2 or 3, and we can't break that barrier, then it really drains on you. And then eventually, like we've seen in this series, the other team will win by 10 or 12 eventually because you can't get over that hump. So, and momentum's a real deal, man.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. Who would be your MVP if Boston wins this thing tonight?
I think, a lot of people are saying Jaylen Brown, but it might be Holiday. I mean, he's been the most solid person, and he's always making plays, whether it's a post move or a pass or a shot. He reminds me a little bit of Dennis Johnson. When we used to play Dennis Johnson, we had Bird and McHale and Parrish and those guys, and DJ would just kind of go along. And then in the fourth quarter, he'd hit that little elbow jump shot, he'd make a little flip shot, and he'd always find a way to beat you. Holiday is like that. And Holiday can do everything, just like DJ, right? DJ wasn't a great shooter, but he could make a shot. He's a really good defender, one of the best out there. He'd get to the basket, he was strong, and he could post you up. That's what Holiday is.
And he would have 14, 15, 16 points. But it seems like all those points were always timely baskets that he made.
Same with Mo Cheeks in Philly, right? Yeah, Barkley and Dr. J and Mose, all those guys. But in the fourth quarter, it seemed like Mo Cheeks always hit that jump shot or whatever to put the nail in the coffin.
Yeah. It is absolutely fascinating to.
But one of the biggest factors, and I think everybody's talked about it in this, is Kyrie Irving, right? Because the first 2 games in Boston, Kyrie didn't play very good, and they lost. Then he played really good in Game 3, but they still lost, and then he had a decent game in Game. But he hasn't played good in Boston in a long time. There's a lot of, it's not like. Guy just gets traded and goes back and plays his own team. There's a little extra there, but he walked away after he promised he was going to stay in Boston. And those Boston fans, believe me, I know, don't give you no leeway, man. They are brutal and they are smart and they know how to dig you at the right time and they know what to say. And I think Kyrie, actually, I'm going to tell you, Kyrie has avoided that crowd for a long time. It seemed like when he was playing, he was due to go into play in Boston, that was his rest day, or he avoided Boston, and it seems like there's a reason to that, and he's going to have to step up and get the the ash or whatever he does, where he purifies the arena or whatever. He's going to have to get his mind right because. Boston's not letting up, and he's going to have to be able to, much like, Bird or Magic or Michael Jordan when I played, or Kobe, those guys, they love that stuff. They love to be the villain and shut the home crowd up and give them a little, hey, that's enough. We got this. I don't know if Kyrie has that in him. We're going to find out tonight.
Yeah. He says the Celtics think they have a psychological edge on him. And he said, I think that's fair, so I got to go in there and prove to him that they don't.
That's right there. That's a mistake. It's a mistake. I would never say that. Even if they did, I would never say that. I would never. I would say I've struggled with before, but it has nothing to do with the fans. That's a bunch of crap. They have no psychological edge on me. That's what you have to say. I mean, you're just fueling the fire. I think one of the Boston players after the game, I think it was Hauser, whatever his name is. He said, "Hey, if we lose Game 5, it's not the end of the world." Shut up! Stop saying stuff like that. I mean, that's just so. We always learned when you're in a playoff series, you don't say anything except good stuff about the other team. That's all. That's all you say, because you don't want to give them any little edge. You don't want to, and you never knew. I'm going to dress Sidney Moncrief out, even though I know he's not going to play, because they don't know. Maybe they're over there guessing. Is Sid going to go in? Is he not? It's all an edge, and you need every edge to win a 7-game series. But players saying, getting in their feelings or whatever, shut up. Just tell the other team what they want to hear, and then go beat their ass. That's what you're supposed to do.
Adam is checking in saying the Mavs win tonight and lose Game 6. How do they win this game tonight, Mo?
Who, the Mavs?
How do they win this?
Well, they got to play like they played the other night. Luka has to not whine, not carry on with the referees, ignore them. And he could get into the crowd. I like that. Smile at the crowd, do all that. That's okay, but not the referees. And he's got to play defense like he did in the last game, because we know he can. He pretty much stayed in front of his guys. He got into rotations. I mean, we watched, game 3 was a joke defensively. He moved as much as I could with a bad hip, bad knee, and bad feet. I mean, he wasn't even trying. But if he shows he's trying, and then Kyrie's going to have to step up. They're going to have to get into open floor more. So guy like Lively and Gafford, they can get out, and they got some dunks in Game 4, because they're moving the ball and getting up tempo. And another big factor is finally, and we know because he hasn't played, and he was one of their stars last year, almost an all-star, was Hardaway Jr. And he made his first 5 shots finally in the game, and he's going to have to step up and come off the bench and give that scoring punch that Dallas needs. And they're going to have to protect the rim. They're going to have to not get frustrated. They're going to have to focus the whole game. Can they win? Yeah, but they have to do all that stuff, and they can't slack off in any area. And they can't let Boston get any runs, get the crowd involved, and they got to attack the rim. When Boston's been attacking them all the time, Tatum, Brown, Holiday, they're all driving and getting into the paint. And that's what Dallas did in Game 4, and that's what they have to do tonight, even though they're on the road. And even if they don't get any calls, keep doing it. Just because you don't get a call doesn't mean you're not going to get the next one, so you got to keep focused. It's going to be a tough. Can they do it? Sure. Doing it is another thing altogether. And most of those guys haven't been. Even Luka has never been here before. Luka's never been here. I mean, he's played in big games in Europe, and I mean, in the Euro Cup, all those with fans that are crazier than Boston. You've seen it on video, but he's never been in NBA Finals before. So it's a new thing for him, and most of those guys on that side.
Okay, everybody, you're checking in. You're watching We Got Next. I'm Rickey Hampton, along with former Bucks center Paul Mokeski, taking a look at tonight's game and the series and the playoffs. I mean, these are the two teams left, and we talked about Mo. This series had a hard time getting started because of to me, just too long of a layoff. But overall, man, I think the playoffs have been really, really fun once they started playing games from the beginning to now.
Well, I think the first round, the first few rounds were really good because they're really good teams. Teams that were competitive. There weren't any blowouts for the most part. But then, I don't giving from the West and East finals to the NBA finals. One team Boston had 10 days off, and Dallas had 7. That's too much. I think fans forgot about it.
Yeah.
Hell, I almost forgot about it. Are they still playing? And now, they kicked in, and then it was 3-0. So the interest wasn't great there. This isn't even a series. Now Dallas got a game, but, getting the fans' interest, heck, we're watching the U.S. Open. People are watching WNBA now. We got all this stuff going on. And I think fans forgot about the NBA because of a week and a half break in between the East-West finals and the NBA finals. That was a huge mistake by the NBA and their scheduling. And you can't say it was TV like a lot of people think, because even though these series were shortened, they still had to have TV time prepared in case they went longer. So you could have started, even if you start the NBA finals and give Dallas 3 or 4 days off, that's enough. And so I think it's been tough to get fans back involved, and we'll see what happens tonight. If Dallas wins tonight, I think it'll kick in big time going back to Dallas that we have a series. If Boston wins tonight, I think a lot of NBA fans will go, there was a finals? Who won?
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, yeah. Especially if they win tonight, man, it's kind of a deflating end to a great playoff series. I mean, season of playoffs, almost anticlimactic. But you mentioned pressure situations, and you've played in them. And you mentioned the U.S. Open. We were talking about it before we went on the air. Rory McIlroy missing a couple of short putts. That if he makes one of those putts, they're on TV playing right now in the 18-hole playoff.
If he makes both, he wins.
And he makes both of them. He wins. And I remember specifically 2 free throws you hit to take the Bucks into overtime against the Celtics years ago in the Garden, where that place, the damn walls are sweating, the floor is sweating, and how athletes manage pressure situations. Do you think some guys are better than others? Some athletes are better than other athletes in those situations. You stepped up and hit those 2 free throws.
Yeah, absolutely, no question. I mean, pro athletes are human, and as all humans are, we're all different. So you handle pressure different than I handle pressure, different than a lot of people handle pressure. So but pro athletes should be and practice mental toughness and blocking things out, and that's where in golf or basketball or almost anything, routine comes into play. So if I'm stepping up to the free throw line, I have my routine. 3 dribbles, 1, 2, 3 count, let it go, follow through. That I'm just going to follow through. I'm going to do that routine if it's in the first quarter of the preseason game, or to put a game in overtime in the playoffs. And so
Ramon, you got 18,000 people screaming, cursing you.
I don't care. That's okay. I'm just going to focus on my routine. Now, if you let some of those thoughts come into your head, oh shoot, I got to make these, or I got to make this putt, or I lose this tournament, or I make these free throws, or man, these people are screaming. If you start thinking about that, you got no chance. You might as well just give the ball to the ref and say, forget it. I mean, but everybody the greatest guys. I mean, Michael Jordans and Magics and Birds and Kobe's and those guys. That's what they were, the toughest mentally of anybody. And some players shy away from those situations, and some players step up. And there's a lot. I would say it's probably 70-30 about guys that 30% of the guys want to step up, and 70 just want to kind of hang out and whatever. Ricky, you take the shot. I'll be over here in case I get the rebound. But it's definitely totally different. I mean, people are different and those situations are different. If you don't focus on your routine, block everything out, I mean, hell, you see those camera angles of, fans behind the backboard waving their arms and naked women, all that stuff. I mean, hell, if you're a good pro, you don't see that. All you see is the rim. That's what you see. You don't see that stuff. You don't hear fans, during the game yelling at you stuff. Now you hear it before the game, sometimes in huddles because it's quieter. I mean, hell, in the Boston Garden, your ears are ringing. You couldn't hear anything anyway. But players step up, some players don't. And it's interesting to me that Kyrie pointed that out. I don't know why he did, but he knows, this is so. If he has a bad game today, that's gonna, people are gonna say, well, you can't handle Boston. Now, if he has a good game and they win, now, yeah, you can handle Boston now. So it's, it's a lot of pressure. But
so, Mo, do you still remember your routine?
Sure.
At the free throw line.
Yes. Yeah. So catch the ball, catch my breath. 1, 2, 3 dribbles. 1, 2, 3 release. Hold your release. That's it. Don't spin the ball. Don't don't deviate. There's so many guys you'll see them. They're spinning the ball. They're doing all this stuff. The least, like golf, right? The least moving parts in your golf swing, the better your golf swing, and the more you can repeat it in pressure situations.
That is so freaking true, bro. That is so freaking
It's
true.
the same in shooting a free throw, and Giannis, and he takes so long. You're a bad free throw shooter. Don't take so long. Keep it simple. Do my 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Let it go. Follow through. Forget about it. I mean, but yeah, I mean, and you have to do it over and over and repetition.
Did you have that? Did you have that in high school?
No, it varied. And you want to put your feet in the same position, but it varied a little bit. But I think early on in my pro career, I got that down. And I just stayed with it, and I was 68% in the regular season, but I was up to almost 80 in playoffs because I just did the routine. But I mean, the less, I see bad free throw shooters moving to the right of the lane, to the left of the lane. Hell, I can't remember. Played with a guy that he was a bad free throw shooter, and he moved like 8 inches back. I mean,
yeah, I'm trying to think of who that was.
He was making. I played, Nick Van Exel, who was a good free throw shooter. He shot way to the left of the line, not all the way over, but almost. But that, I mean, I wanted everything to be straight, and I used to do as a coach. I would, guys that were struggling, and I've told you this before. You can really see where they're moving around if you go at half court and they're shooting a free throw, and you just focus on that backboard. You can see that the ball is going up and released, and it's coming straight down. You can see it in a straight line. You can go to the other basket, and it should look like it's going through that basket and into the other basket, because you don't want movement, you don't want swaying.
Right.
If you're going to sway, you want to be moving forward. Look at Jack Sigma. He did it. He almost fell forward. Steve Kerr, one of the best free throw shooters ever. He did it. I played with Calvin Murphy, who made like 90 in a row. He did it. Rudy Thompson, the same guys, but routine is key.
Our buddy Steve Schroeder's checking in. Man, he said the heat got to him. The reason why he's late, Mo.
It's 110 here in Vegas, Steve. I wasn't late.
Thank you, brother. Happy birthday from Steve. I appreciate it. I appreciate it from everybody out there helping me celebrate my birthday. Boston's going to hang banner number 18 tonight, says Kevin.
I think
you're right.
Kev, I think you could be right. I mean, it would take a monster game from Dallas, all their guys, Hardaway Jr., and then maybe some wobbling from Tatum, or Brown, who's been fantastic. I'll tell you who's not going to wobble is Holiday. He's going to perform, So I think unless something kind of little crazy goes, and here's my other thing, Kev. I know people are talking about playing Porzingis. I would not play Porzingis. I mean, you know, he's iffy at best, and he won't be 100%. And guess what? If Boston loses tonight, they still have 2 games to win one. And maybe Porzingis game's back for game 6. If you play Porzingis and you lose tonight, you got a problem now. And he gets hurt more. So I would rest Porzingis because they can beat him without him. But yeah, I think it's probably 60-40, maybe 65 that Boston wins tonight. I think.
Kev Jeff said it's the legend Paul Mokeski. And Mo, you are one of the most recognized players from your era. And I think part of that, number one, you played on really good teams, so everybody got to see you guys play in big games. Number two, the way you played, and I didn't think about it, but I have to get that picture. You diving for a loose ball, knocking the hell out of somebody.
Dr. J.
Was that?
Yeah.
Wait till we get Dr. J back on. We're going to put that up there. But that, I mean, you always played the right way. I think that helped you solidify not only your status in the league, but the respect you got from fans because they knew you knew what you were doing out there.
Yeah, I think a lot of fans related to me because I didn't look like the prototype basketball player. I am 7 foot tall, but I didn't have athleticism out the wazoo. I could jump, unlike people think that I could, but I could, and I could shoot the ball. But I didn't really look that part. But also, I mean, I dove on the floor, I set picks, I did a lot of the dirty stuff, and that's how I lasted 12 years. And but I'll tell you what, if you ask any of the players, you ask, even my teammates, Sidney Moncrief, Jack Stickman, those guys, but even Dr. J's or Charles Barkley's or Michael Jordan's, ask them, they'll know who I am, and they respect it the way I play. And I was the other day, and I think Luka was trash talking or something, and then they have footage of Larry Bird trash talking. But I'm telling you, maybe I blocked it out, but I could count on one hand at guys that trash talked me when I played, even the Birds and those guys, because I think that number one, they respected the way I played, and number two, they knew I could get them back probably somewhere or another, setting a hard pick or something later on down the road.
Absolutely, man. Kevin said he saw you block. I got a picture of that one too, when you're going up to block.
No, he's talking about the one I got in the playoff game from behind.
From behind on him. Yeah.
And then I took out DJ with a body block.
Paul was talked about a lot in my favorite book, The Book of Basketball by Bill Simmons. I'm gonna have to get that.
Yeah, Bill's a good dude, but he talked about me a little bad though.
I have to get that one. Steve says Jason Kidd will come back.
As a coach? As a coach?
What's
that question, Steve? As a coach? Yeah, I think he will. But,
I think both these coaches have done good jobs with their teams.
Yeah, I mean, Jason Kidd's been there before. He won a championship as a player. He knows what he's doing. He's really calm influence. I think both coaches are really calm coaches. They're not up screaming and yelling. And, that's why I didn't think the guy from UConn would be a good coach in the pros because he screams all the time. But, they're very well prepared. They have good staffs that they rely on. They're very calming. And they put their players, as a coach, this is what I want to do. I wanted to put my players in the best situation they could be so they could all be successful, because if they're all successful, we can win. And that's what I think both these coaches do. There's been, a few adjustments here and there, not a lot, but a few. They're very, very capable. They rely on their coaching staffs, and the players respect them. You can see, and they both have really, really good teams too. That helps.
Yeah, Hurley turned down the Lakers. He's kind of hinted that they didn't offer him enough money, and the governor of Connecticut already said we're gonna make him the highest paid coaching basketball. But you thought that would have been a bad move on his part. And,
Yes.
and why do these college coaches, it just doesn't seem to work.
Well, some do, most don't. I mean, you go back.
I mean, Larry Brown was successful.
Yeah, he was successful he was a pro coach before he was a college coach, though. He coached in the ABA. Then he went to Kansas and he was successful. Then he went back, in Detroit and won it all. But, coach, it's a totally different animal. College and pro, it's a totally different animal. And you can't do what you do in college in the pros. And you have 82 games, not 30 or 40 or whatever. And, you have once the season starts, you have hardly any practice time, because the games are so constant and players don't want to get them run down or hurt. And it's just a different animal. And, if Hurley's going to scream like he does, he knew he would have to adapt. But, at 40 games where you're done with the college season, you're only halfway through. And by now, you don't have a voice, you can't speak anymore, and your players are tired of you yelling at them. So, they block you out. But, I think he has good offensive sets. I think, good actions I think he runs. He would have to adjust. The biggest adjustment was as in the NBA, as a head coach, you don't have the ultimate power. The players and the owner and the general manager do. In college, you have the ultimate power. You do. So that's the biggest adjustment. And I thought it would be a mistake. I think, but the Lakers made a mistake too. If they're going to do all this hoo-ha, they need to offer him, because they know, $70 million over 6 years. Please give it to me, thank you. But he makes 32 million in Connecticut, where he loves it, and but they're going to up that to 50 or 60 million. So if you're going to try and get him to come to LA in a new situation, new environment, LeBron James, all that stuff, you need to offer him. Like the first thoughts were 100 million, right? That's what the first numbers were out there.
Right.
Then it becomes a money thing. But it's not if you're offering 10 or 15 million comparatively, it's not a money thing. And the Lakers made a big mistake, because now where are they? Now they're struggling. They have egg on their face again, just like they did a few years ago with Ty Lue, where they got that thing tied up. And they look like they look disorganized, foolish. You need to have all your ducks in a row. If you're going to go after someone like Hurley, you need to have a package that he can't turn down. His wife's going to say, you got to take it. His kids are going to say, you got to take it. His agent's going to say, you got to take it. Even his players in UConn would say, Coach, you had to take that. But Lakers didn't offer him that. So now, J.J. Redick or, another assistant in the NBA, everything from there is like, wah, wah, wah.
The NBA in the 70s and 80s season was over in April. Now 60 more days. I don't think they're sick. Well, if you got kicked out of the playoffs, it was over in April. The finals were probably over right around the 1st of June back in the day, wasn't it, Mo?
Yeah, I mean, all in all, the season probably lasted 3 or 4 weeks more, regular season. But hell, we played 4 games in 5 days. Hell, when I played, we played 3 games in a row. Which is not good for anybody, really. And, we went on 3-week road trips, so, it was, there was no resting, I would say we probably played 4.5 games a week, maybe 5, kind of average out. I bet they play 3.5, maybe 4 now in today's season. But, I'm not mad at that. I mean, you got to give players rest time, even though they are traveling by private jet and they're staying. They have more, nutritionists and masseuses and blah, 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 so they should be able to hang with it. But, the load management is ridiculous. Michael Jordan, Magic, they would never load management. I got to play because someone's going to be in the stands that wants to see me play and will never get another chance, So, it's better for the players now. I think they stretch it out too far playoff wise. But I mean, when I was coaching Dallas, I mean, with preseason and postseason, we always went to the second or third round. You're talking about 100 games in a
Yeah.
year, in a
Yeah,
9-month season.
I tell you, Mo, that's one of the most impressive things to me about LeBron James is all the miles he's put on his legs playing deep into the postseason up until recently. I think he went to, eight straight conference finals, something like that. And dude's still going strong.
Well, add to that I think he's played in 3 Olympics, so that adds another month and a half to your season. So really, you get a couple weeks if you play in the finals around there. I mean, hell, a few years back, Holiday and Middleton flew from the NBA Finals right to the Olympics and played. They didn't
Yeah,
get any break, So
yeah,
usually after a long season as a player, you want probably a 3-month period of you'll take 2 or 3 weeks off totally. Then you'll start working out and exercise stuff, and then for 4 to 6 weeks before the season, you're in full training mode. But if you don't, if you only have, 2 months off after the Olympics, and your body recuperates 2 or 3, and you're going to be back in training right after, that's tough. That's a lot.
yeah. Yeah, Steve says 71. Man, I think you might have been right about that, Steve, because, back then you didn't have as many playoff series also.
First 3-game series, and the second round was 5.
Yeah, yeah.
They were all 7 games.
And I think the Bucks swept the Bullets in that too. Hey Mo,
I think this season started a little sooner too.
Mo, speaking of going from one season to another, let's go to the WNBA because it's gotten a lot of talk recently
Really?
with with Caitlin Clark. I watched her yesterday. I thought she played a terrific game as Indiana beat Chicago, but she's gone straight from her season to the NBA. She is definitely going to have to get stronger, but you can see she shows flashes of why they picked her number 1 overall, and she shows why she's a rookie, just like you said she would do.
Yeah, I mean, they're really, even more than I thought, they're face guarding her. They're not they're guarding her. As soon as she gets the ball out, they're doing some stuff that they don't do with a lot of players. So she's learned how to not force stuff, pass the ball. She passes it up earlier. She doesn't have to fake, but she doesn't get many shots anymore. They're really all over her. But she's learning, and she has to get stronger, but not that much stronger. I mean, that's what they said about Iceman Gervin and KD and Kevin Garnett. They said about a lot of people. You got to get stronger. Well, they get stronger, but you don't bulk up. But yeah, it's going to be a long season. But they get a break now of 2 weeks. When the Olympics start, they're off. So I know she should be on the Olympic team, blah, 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 blah. That's a different argument, marketing or player-wise or team-wise, whatever. But in the long run, it's going to help her because she's going to have 2 weeks off where she can get some rest, get back in the gym, and then really close the season out because their team is starting to play better. They were really terrible. Now they're starting to play better. If they can get into playoffs, that'll be another story. But, I mean, I think there were 17,000 at her game. I saw the Phoenix game. They had like 10,000. They had 10,000 here at the Aces game when they played the Liberty. So the WNBA is coming along. And I think what you'll see now is the marketing of the game and the money will start going up now that they'll actually have some input with sponsorship.
Yeah, yeah. And there was, once again, some controversy in yesterday's game. A hard foul by Angel Reese, flagrant foul, going for the ball and just got across the head. I mean, we see these fouls all the time. And Reese, I didn't know she said that until you told me. She says some people get a special whistle. Now, everybody gets that whistle when they get hit in the head.
Yeah, I mean, it's a flagrant foul. And, she went for the ball. She hit they call it, they're probably ejected now because anytime you hit someone in the head, it's like, a national emergency. But, and Caitlin Clark handled it like it's just a flagrant foul. She was going for the ball. But I think Reese handled it. She was talking about how kind of like they're after me again. And, I guess they get a special whistle. I mean, in my opinion, she should be fined, whatever they can fine her in the WNBA, 10 grand, 15 grand. Because you can't say that after the game, even though it might be true. Guess what? Dr. J got a special whistle. I couldn't say anything. So did Larry Bird and all of them. But this is part of the game. And, you just make it look bad on yourself, What she should have said is, hey, I was going for the ball. I got her in the head. I'm sorry, it just happens. That's part of the game. And we go on. Instead of special whistle comment, stop saying extra stuff. All players, stop saying extra stuff. Keep it simple.
Mo, I don't think nobody's going to. It's always going to be a few. But they should really. I mean, I can understand. There's definitely some jealousy towards Clark going on in that league. But let me tell you, this young lady is bringing eyes to that game and is eventually going to put money in their pockets and purses.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. So you have to deal with it. And you know what? I mean, MJ came in the league. We did take dirty shots at him, but maybe set an extra hard pick or something. And that's just the nature of the game. But stop doing it in the media. Stop it. Just shut up. I mean, you want the WNBA to grow and get more money and more respect. And shut up. Stop bringing petty stuff in. Even though you might think it, who cares? And you could give a hard foul, who cares? But stop talking about it. That only brings the whole league down. And saying something like special whistle, that's the worst thing you could say. I mean, the NBA is struggling with that, with the referees' calls and, is it fixed and all this stuff, which it's not. But in the WNBA, you can't afford to have that, just like the NBA can't afford to have it. So I would expect that she gets fined pretty heavy. For saying something like that. Even if you think it, you can tell your friends, you can tell your friends' friends, but to stop it in the media. It looks petty. Just like Shaq said, it looks petty. Now, you don't like the girl, you don't like the lady, set a hard pick on her, okay? Or get a flagrant one, okay? That's part of the game.
Yeah. Mo, just a final thoughts here. I got to get out of here a couple of minutes early. I got a big date tonight.
That's right.
I'm going to try to get out and get dinner and get back and watch the game.
Eat some dessert. Have a nice cocktail. Come on.
Hey, what are you going to look for tonight when you turn this game on at 8:30?
Well, I'm gonna look at Luka, number one. How he's acting. Is he going to be the game 4 Luka or the game 3 Luka? That's number one. I'm going to see if Jason Kidd goes to his bench early with Hardaway Jr. and see if he can give some punch off the bench. And I'm going to see if Dallas can get the tempo up and get in the open court and get some lobs and some dunks. And on the other end, I'm going to see, if Tatum and Brown, Tatum especially, if he decides, I'm going to do this, I'm going to be the hero, I'm going to win the game, or if he just lets the game come to him, moves the ball like they do so well. When Boston moves the ball, forget about it. They have weapons all over the floor, and keep moving the ball and keep playing hard defense like you have. If they're going to come out like that, but if they get one-on-one, too much over dribbling and standing around, then Boston has a problem. So that's the first thing I'm going to look for. I'm not looking for 10, 15-point lead in the first quarter or whatever, 20-point lead. I'm not looking at that. I'm looking at those things and how they're panning out. And that's going to dictate the rest of the game.
Yeah. Steve, sit in your chair and relax. I'm going to do just that, my friend. I appreciate you, Steve. And we appreciate all of you out there in Sports Fluent with the Sports Fluent Network. We have enjoyed this association. We'll be back at our regular time next Monday. and discuss
Yeah.
what happens tonight. We got the draft coming up soon. We'll start digging into that. Free agency. Did you have something else you want to end with?
No, I was going to say the draft is coming up really, really soon. Even though it's not a strong draft, there's some good players in there. And it's going to be interesting. And some moves that some of these teams that, maybe have some extra draft picks, OKC, even Boston, are they going to make some moves? OKC more than Boston, obviously. And then that free agency, how that's going to shut up. And where is Bronny James going to go?
Well, we're gonna get out of here. Now you don't worry about the fine tonight, Steve. You good, brother. For Paul Mokeski, I'm Rickey Hampton. See you next week. Enjoy the game. Take care, everybody.
See ya. Happy birthday.
Thank you, Mo.